All right, guys. Good evening. This is Ron. It's Monday, December the 9th, and a little after 6 p.m. So let's go ahead and get started. See what we have. See if we have any questions. Any questions about anything?
On this, Vermel, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
In Ecclesiastics, don't know exactly where, it says, what does it mean when person says, throw your, cast your bread upon the water, and it'll come back tenfold? What is that referring to? What is the real meaning behind it?
I do not know right offhand. You don't know where it is exactly because I'd probably have to see what it's talking about. Pastor or anybody else that might have an
I
idea.
will I will hold my question till Saturday and I will read through it again and tell you exactly where it is.
What did it say though? Cast your bread.
The person talking said it cast your bread upon the waters and it will return tenfold.
Looks like 11 and 1, right? Ecclesiastes 11 and 1. I just want to take a look
Okay.
at it for a minute. Good question. I guess I have no idea. I probably have to go back and look at chapter 10. Uh is anybody else familiar with this or like to offer some insight?
Would we have a lot of blank space, Ron?
Yes, sir. Okay. Good idea. Well, let's look at this uh this weekend or at a
Okay.
later time. And because I don't know what that's saying.
Okay.
So thank you for the question though. Anyone else? Anyone? Questions, comments? I have a question. I want to ask a question uh ab- about our discussions the last couple of days. I heard Pastor say something on yesterday in his discussion, some of the things he was discussing, and he talked about right wing, I think was the phrase he used. I might be getting, but in politics, you hear a lot about conservatives and liberals and right wing, left wing. Can you go into that and give some explanation so that everybody will kind of have a better idea of some of the things that we discuss or have been discussed? Pastor, you muted?
Not now.
Okay.
When they talk about left, right wing, and right wing, they're talking about the difference between liberal and conservative politicians or parties, political parties. When they talk about the ultra right or the radical left or whatever. They are talking about the radical, I'm sorry, the ultra right are those who more adamant about their racist beliefs, more adamant about their what they call conservative beliefs, and the same with the other side of the spectrum. They are more adamant about their progressive beliefs as opposed to the Democrat principles, which are based on liberalism instead of being based on true change or progressive change. And those labels apply uh, in the so-called democratic governments around the world. We hear more about it in Germany, France, um, England, and America. And that's about it, actually. Anyone want to add to that?
Anyone? Just wanted to make sure everybody's on the same page, and just a couple things I thought of when you got through. Another one that and I was trying to think something you said too that to me are buzzwords, code words that they use uh for different things without coming out and saying that I'm talking about the poor or this group of people.
Uh,
Uh,
when they talk about urban areas, they're talking about communities of Black people who are usually poor. When they talk about blue states, they're talking about states that are dominated by Democrats. Red states are dominated by Republicans. The poor states in the country are red states. And when they talk about like Trump or someone may mention um, they're not going to do whatever for blue states. Quite frankly, they don't have a choice because if blue states were to refuse to send tax money to the federal government from their states, then states like South Carolina would have no means of educating their population, no means of maintaining their roads, no means of actually maintaining state government. The whole state would pretty much shut down because South Carolina is a beggar state. And a beggar state is a state who receives more from the government tax base, federal government tax base, than they give. Red states receive far less or nothing in terms of the amount they send to the federal government in taxes. So again, the poorest states are red states. And the thing that gets me about that is that the most suffering that takes place in the country with low healthcare, no healthcare at all, when it comes to employment, workers' rights, all of those are primarily in red states, which are conservative/Republican states. And the way the states have been gerrymandered, these types of people will always be in office until the people come to an understanding that they are not electing people who have their best interests at heart. So.
any questions, y'all? Everybody kind of quiet tonight.
Well, if you don't have any if there are no questions, then there is nothing that you have that you you want to bring up for discussion. If no one has anything, then we do what we do. We leave.
I had looked up something yesterday, and I guess I'm not really ready to discuss it. I wanted to do some more research and look at this. But the word I looked up, we were talking yesterday about darkness, and we seem to have it seemed to bring us a little anxiety, I guess, when we think about it. Uh, that it, I guess, because we've been taught that it's not something positive. But I was thinking about the womb and a spiritual understanding of the womb. Uh, when an infant, the baby is in the womb, he's in darkness, but there's nothing lacking. There's nothing that infant has to be concerned with, uh, as far as what is needed. And because it recognizes, or I would think it recognizes that there's nothing that it needs. Uh, it remains in total comfort until time to exit. So, uh, if we maintain this, our intuitive side, and see things from that, darkness might mean that we don't always have answers, that we don't always know what the next day looks like, but we find comfort in the moment that we're in. Uh, is that sort of the same thing? So, and what I was looking for was what takes place in the womb, trimester by trimester, what takes place during those weeks and months and whatnot. And I just to try to tie that together. But and maybe I will at some other point kind of try to bring that together.
Just to add to what you're saying, Ron, this is Audrey.
Hey, Audrey.
Um, well, to use the same analogy, the baby is connected to the mother,
Yes.
and because the baby is connected to the mother, it has no need to worry about any of its needs or wants, or because everything is being supplied.
Yeah.
So we too, when we're in darkness, if we know who or what we're connected to, we shouldn't have any worries or fears or doubts or
Yeah.
whatever, because everything will be supplied.
And that's kind of where I was looking to see what happens in week one, say for week three, week four, because those needs are being met. The baby has, and even when the mother may you hear, can you guys mute your phones, please? But you hear that the mom may be um craving something unusual that she may not eat normally. That is because of the baby taking care of something that the baby needs. So it just metaphorically, as Audrey said, I was thinking about it with us. uh there is comfort in darkness, and don't let anybody talk us into being fearful of it because of where we are and who we are. Um,
And you don't have to worry about what your eyes see.
Yes.
like the baby doesn't.
So just thought that was interesting, and I'm sorry I didn't get that developed any further than that, but uh, just a couple things that came off of our discussions yesterday and the day before.
But don't we gain strength in darkness from the things that we go through?
Exactly. Yeah, we do. Uh, you know, using that same, you know, example. Everything, your growth, your all of your development happens in darkness. Isn't that ironic? So
But Ron,
yes, sir.
she said, don't we grow in darkness because of the things we go through?
Don't, oh, okay, don't we grow in darkness?
Yeah.
I say gain strength.
Gain strength in darkness because of things we go through. Darkness, the things we go through has negative connotations. It's not necessarily darkness when we are going through something. We know what we are going through. We just don't have the answers to fix it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So our strength when we are going through something comes from our resolve to hold on to what we know the truth to be, or to hold on to who knowing who we are. Because what going through something does not mean that you are in a dark place in terms of what we have been taught darkness is. When you don't have the wisdom or the answers, then those answers are the darkness because they are unknown to you. And what is unknown to you weakens you if you don't hold on to what you believe. If you hold on to what you believe, if you have a totally positive outlook on life, and I use positive loosely, if you are spiritual in nature, that's your source, and you know that spiritual strength, spirituality rather, and knowledge itself is your source. Then, even though you don't have the answer, it maintains your strength. And when that answer comes, it doesn't come as a result of something negative. That the answer comes out of the darkness, which is wisdom, not a dark space that keeps you, that makes you uncomfortable. This whole concept of darkness, I think we have a great need to embrace it or to see it from the spiritual perspective and not from the religious perspective. Everything that is troubling is dark in religion. That's not true in spirituality. Everything that's dark in spirituality is unknown. Like, don't keep me in the dark about this. Tell me what it means. Trouble, the trouble does strengthen you, but not because it's darkness. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
Ron, can you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I guess I'm looking at it from the perspective of where the world is now. Uh, you know, just speaking to people on the job or wherever they are actually, uh, people are very apprehensive and a little unsettled. And I don't feel that. When this thing first happened, I think we all felt like the elevator hit the ground pretty hard and kind of jolted us a bit. But we, I think the energy of the group brought us back rather quickly. I even think. Uh, so that's what I link. I saw it from the perspective of the wound, like what Audra said. We never really became disconnected, and not from each other or not from the source of who we are. So from that perspective, nothing can jolt you. Anything that happens, well, I won't say nothing can jolt you, nothing can keep you in that place. Uh, so it may look like uncertainty. It may look like a place you've never been before, but the assurance is that you're still connected and you still recognize who you are. So that was my perspective on it.
Ron, I have a question. This is Evelyn, and this is to the family. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
So where are we now with, let me just say this. I was thinking about the scripture in Revelation 21, verse 1, and it says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea." So my question is, are we now in the new earth, which is consciousness? Will everyone be, will everyone see what's happening as the new earth, or is it in the individual? Is it an individual thing? Because we all think differently, we believe differently. So that's my question is, how does that scripture line up with today? Because things don't seem the same to me. It's like it's a new day. Things will just happen differently for me. That's my question to the family.
Yeah, that may be I can give my answer, but I would love to hear what others say. And I think to me that's an ongoing thing. I don't think it's like there will be a new heaven and a new earth. I think it's a continuous thing, a continuous process. Uh, I think at least since we've been on these on Zoom, the earth has been cleansing itself. The earth has been being renewed. Uh, and I see when we say we're not in the place, we've never been this place before. I think that's what we are referring to, just another way of saying it. So I don't see it as I see just like we are evolving from out of religion, evolving from being the spiritual beings that we are. I think that's what it does individually and collectively, uh, as far as the new heaven and the new earth. But that's me. Anybody else see that differently or want to add something to it?
What we
I
talk
have
about.
a, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the way you put it, Ron, makes me think that maybe Evelyn is is her growth that she's acknowledging by seeing by what she's seeing. Can it be that?
Of course. Yeah, I can see that.
The whole idea of a heaven, new heaven and a new earth, it speaks to us individually as well as collectively. What what is a new heaven and what is a new earth? A new heaven speaks to the enlightenment that we receive that we've never experienced before. Is something new. The new earth speaks of a type of consciousness that comes as a result of embracing the enlightenment that you've never experienced before, which means that it changes the consciousness that you once thought um, was the proper way to process things or to respond to things in your life. When we look even deeper at the new heaven and the new earth, the enlightenment that we never received before, when that enlightenment has an effect or an influence on our current earth consciousness to the extent that it changes it, it brings it in line with that enlightenment, then we once again are experiencing as above, so is below. Because we are bringing the consciousness of the earth in tune with the consciousness of enlightenment, which we have spoke in depth about some time ago. So it is both collective and it is individual. There are individuals who are listening right now and have listened previously. And the enlightenment that has been received has had a great impact on how they respond to the consciousness to earth consciousness rather, or they are now more aware, because consciousness speaks to awareness. You're now more aware of the expectations of the Creator in terms of your response and interactions with the people around you. Then there are those who have listened and they have not changed anything. They have listened, but they have received it academically. They remember what was said. They remember what they learned that was different. However, they did not allow it to influence their awareness. And regardless of who you are, you have a choice. You can allow it to influence you or not. Usually, the best way to embrace anything that enlightens you is to do self-examination of you. How did it impact you? Do you talk differently? Are you upset quickly like you once were? Do you get upset quickly like you once did? What is, how do you respond to those who come at you in a way that's not acceptable? Are you responding the same way? Are you reacting the same way that you always have? That comes through introspection. The other thing is that the impact of enlightenment can be seen when someone corrects you. The hardest thing for religious folks to receive and embrace is correction. The hardest thing for people who think they already know is correction. When you are enlightened and someone corrects you, you don't get upset about it. You express your gratitude for them having done that. Even if they come at you in a way that's displeasing to you, you take it with a grain of salt, but you don't respond in the same way as they came at you. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
So this whole, thank you. So this whole idea of a new heaven and a new earth results in a new awareness of self. And when you have a new awareness of self, it also should translate in a new awareness of those who are around you. Because when you realize who you are, that means that you also see who everyone else is, whether they recognize it or not. Does that make sense?
Yes, it
I'm
does.
processing.
Yes.
This thing about individualism is very dangerous. It's dangerous in that if we're going to base everything on how I feel, that's a problem. Because we are not here to simply stop at changing ourselves individually. We are here to influence humanity collectively, are we not?
Yes.
And I think that needs to be our primary focus on a continuous basis, even if we have to be pulled back in discussions to that place. Suppose we were to sit and read all of this stuff and keep it to ourselves. What kind of an influence would it have on humanity? What kind of an influence would it have on you? None. And the reason it would not have an influence on you is because if you are reading it for yourself, then your understanding is going to be limited because your understanding is for the express purpose of sharing it for the benefit of humanity. Does that make sense? Evelyn?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But I'm still trying to process how does a new heaven and a new earth line up with today. I like what Ramel said about the feeling part. But yeah, maybe I'm missing it. I don't know, but maybe I need more clarity on that. How does that line up with what's happening now? What I know that the earth is different. I feel it's different. I don't see things the way I used to see them anymore. So I know it's a change.
But Evelyn, that's because it's lining up. What are we talking about? The new enlightenment has shown us that the policies of Donald Trump are not a problem at all. They are an asset. We would not have seen that 10 years ago. That's new enlightenment. That's the enlightenment. That's the new heaven. The new earth is seen in that people are beginning to see what his policies really mean to them and how they are going to negatively impact them if indeed they are put in place. That is an awareness of what the enlightenment has shown you. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay. Thank you. Um, I came across something today that that John Henry Clark said. He said that they laughed at your clothes and you changed your clothes. They laughed at your name and you changed your name. But worst of all, they laughed at your God and you changed your God. What does that mean? What he's saying is, they told you that everything you believe was voodoo and demonic. And you bought into the Christianity that they gave you, and it kept you enslaved. That's worse than changing your name and changing your clothes because they laughed at you. New Heaven, New Earth says, I'm more enlightened now about who I am. Laugh at my clothes, laugh at my name, laugh at my God, but it will not result in me changing my clothes, my name, or my God. Why? Because now that I have been enlightened, the consciousness, my awareness of who I am, my awareness of what has been done to me through this religion has shown me rather who I am. And I would rather embrace who I am and be left alone than to embrace something that diminishes who I am and be popular. Does that make sense?
Yes, I like that. Yes. Pastor, that's deep. That's very profound what you just said.
Thank you. But that's where we are. That's how it impacts us.
Anyone else? Any questions, comments?
I got one more question in. So, two, the new heaven and the new earth is I know who I am. And no matter what you try to do, it doesn't, or to me, it doesn't work anymore. Again, you can't kill me. You cannot destroy me. You will no longer take my identity because now I know who I am.
That's it.
That's what I see. That's
it.
what I see.
Let me share this also. We have been talking about how about the efforts that have been put forth to hide our history in a deeper hole than has already been hidden in. I wanted to say to us that this is not the first time that it happened. And one of the major places that we reference when we talk about this is Florida. In the early 50s, in Florida, there was a husband and wife team who were registering people to vote. And his wife was a school teacher. And she was secretly teaching her students Black history, the history of themselves, not just slavery, but the history of their African origins. They had taunted them about registering people to vote. But when they found out that they were secretly teaching African students about their origins, they came in the night, they meaning the Klan, came in the night and burned the house with them in it to send the message. This was not, message was more about her teaching history to the people, to the children about who they are, than it was about voter registration. Why do I say that? So we will understand that governments have always tried to do that, because after that happened, the state of Florida passed a law saying that you could not teach Black history in the schools in Florida. So everything that has been done in the past, we are seeing it not so much repeated as it is being revealed, so that everything that can be changed will be changed at the same time. It is incumbent upon us who purport to know who we are to hold on to that, because if there is to be stability amongst humanity, there must be stability with you in knowing who you are. And stability about self-awareness has nothing to do with your academic understanding or memory about the history of your origin. Embracing who you are and being expressive of it has nothing to do with whether or not you are on these calls. Your personal, your inner stability is shown when you are what we call under attack. Are you stable when you are being attacked, meaning that there is huge pushback and you having a plethora of problems and nothing seems to be going right with you? Are you able to maintain your stability? That's the stability that humanity needs. Today, when I saw what happened in Syria, to me, that was a glimpse of how quickly we will experience stability, change for humanity. To me, it was a manifestation of how quickly things will change or be manifested as a change. I do not believe that the inauguration of a tyrant has the power to delay enlightenment, neither does it have the power to delay the stability of humanity. It doesn't have the power to stifle balance for humanity. Rather, I believe that the Creator will bring stability to humanity in the midst, excuse me 1 second, will bring it stability and bring balance in the midst of policies that are put in place to diminish the unicity of humanity to a state where there is civil war. I believe that stability from the Creator is seen when when those around us feel like there is no hope. Just maybe where we are now, listening at people make plans to do preemptive pardons, make plans to employ lawyers just in case, making plans to leave the country, trying to figure out how to offset what has been threatened. All of these things are efforts to maintain the status quo. These are not efforts to do anything to balance humanity. They are efforts to maintain the status quo. The only ones on the scene that I know of who is committed to unifying humanity are the people that we interact with 3 days a week. And I do not believe that the Creator is going to allow any of our desires to be in vain. I do not believe that we need action from the government or from people who are influential in government or business to bring about the balance that we so deeply desire. Please do not discount the power that is inherent within you and the power who brought us into existence. The Creator allowed this tyrant to expose what I call soft dictatorship, and that is liberalism. So that there would be no question about how the change came about and who instigated it. there would be no way that Christians can claim that they prayed and it happened. There'd be no way that Muslims can claim that they defeated the heathen, or the so-called Jews can claim that the Creator put them in their land and gave them favor over everyone else. All of these things will be exposed, while at the same time, stability will be wrought in the midst of the chaos that we have been told is going to ensue after this inauguration. So I solicit you to do a self-evaluation and ask yourself, what do you really believe and who are you? Suppose for a moment that the European mindset that we talk about so often in relationship to the African mindset or the mindset of a Kabbalah. Suppose for a moment that is reflective, the European mindset is reflective of the worst side of who we are as Africans. Because all came from us. Suppose that's it. Suppose that's our other side of the coin. And now it is for us to have such an influence on this mindset until it shifts. It comes under the influence of the mindset of Okabalon, and the energy is repurposed for the benefit of humanity, as opposed to us looking at this mindset in the form of people, rather than looking at it in the form of energy. Suppose that's what we're supposed to be doing. That chaotic energy that is creating chaos because it doesn't have any order about it. And those who are able to bring it to order and bring it to a form that's beneficial are just now seeing that this chaotic energy is in us and we are in it. And the question is, how much are we willing to give in order to repurpose it? Can we cease thinking that it is something that is separate from us, yet the energy that's European mindset is energy, the same energy, but it functions in a different way. Does that make sense? Can you see that? At least a glimpse of it?
Yes.
Yes.
Roy?
I'm pondering it. Yeah, you said a lot there.
I believe that We have been set on a course different than anything we could have imagined. Because if energy is energy and energy is not separated, it just does different things. The energy that turns on your lights is the same energy that cranks your car. It does different things. The energy that burns your house down is the same energy that cooks your food. It does different things. So if we can mentally separate ourselves from these bodies and close our eyes and only see energy and see it like there is a storm and we are in a different part of the county and we can see a storm brewing in the distance. The trees are bending. The lightning is flashing. The clouds are dark. We hear the roar of the thunder, but where we are, the sun is shining. There is no wind. There is no rain. There is no lightning. But we see that storm. Suppose the portion of sunlight is the energy of a Kabbalon, and the storm represents the chaotic energy. All of it is the same energy, but it's functioning differently. And there has to be something that understands the power of order, the power of creation, the power that is necessary to bring that storm to a place where it is not a danger anymore. In other words, speaking to it, simply saying, peace, be still. Suppose that during that period when we were dealing with storms and keeping hurricanes from this state and turning hurricanes, pushing them out this, doing all these things. Suppose we were being trained at that moment to deal with this spiritual storm of the chaos that has brought us to this place, forcing us to a place to know who we are, so that we could be trained by our Creator to reach into the soul of the first priest in the earth, the Kemetic priesthood, and understand the sheer nature of what peace is, the sheer nature of what it means to bring order out of chaos and peace out of war. If that is the case, and I do believe it is, then the question becomes, how is it that we are able to influence that chaotic storm so that it can be brought to a place of being beneficial to humanity? Then I ask you, how is it that we were able to bring peace to the storm, the hurricanes? How were we able to influence the storms? Our mindset. We believed it. We believed that we could do it, and we did it even before we knew who we are. We did it because we were saying at that moment, we were believing that Jesus did it. It was still a Christian thing with us. So how much more influence do we have now, understanding the magnitude of a Kabbalah, the magnitude of who we are, knowing that the one who created us is not going to change anything. It is incumbent upon us to speak to that storm. And when we bring order to that energy, it is then that we walk in the fullness of Patah, or in the fullness of Elohim, in the fullness of the divine. We have the divine energy to make that happen. That's who we are. I'm done. Questions or comments? If it makes
Yes, I
sense,
have a comment.
yes.
What you're saying makes a lot of sense. Things happen the way they did with the hurricanes and how I'm just gonna say this, keep it short. We stayed the course. We stayed the course, and I believe with everything in me, that's why we have the power to change everything, is because we stayed the course. No matter what had happened in the world with the current affairs, this family, we stayed the course. And I believe that within me. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Pastor, this is Charles. And in anything that you were saying, I hear when Jesus said, greater works we would do. And I keep hearing that right there. So it's got to be something that we're picking up on. Something we're picking up on to get ready to be what was said.
Thank you.
Now I got a scripture, but I'm not going to do it right now because I'm trying to pick up some more understanding out of it. But in time, I'm gonna read that, get around to read that scripture when I bring it forth.
Okay.
That's all.
All right. Thank you, sir.
I think this is Audrey. I think you just described the new heaven and the new earth, the new total mindset, a new revelation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Stay the course. What does that mean? If you are the storm, if you are a part of the storm, you can't bring peace to the storm. When you truly believe that we are children of the sun, when you truly believe that, then you know this. When we say that we are children of the sun, is more than children of a continent. We are talking about, we are the children that life brought into this earth. Therefore, we are life itself. We are the life energy of the sun. I think it was yesterday, Audrey said that the earth, mankind could not survive without Africa. That's because we are the life of what is. But we lost our way because someone laughed at our clothes and we changed our clothes. Someone laughed at our culture and we changed our culture. Someone laughed at our God and we changed our God. Someone laughed at our skin and we were ashamed of who we are. Someone said that you are a slave and we said, yes, sir. We were not born slaves. We were made slaves. Someone said, during your History Month in February, you talk about slavery. You talk about Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, but don't talk about Shabaka. Don't talk about Imhotep because they are heathen. And we said, yes, sir. Tonight, we are saying, no, sir, not going to happen. We have been in this colony of America for all of these years and have been in servitude ever since we were here. It is time for us to be the priests in the land and act like it. The priests in the land serve people without regard to how they feel about the priests, without regard to what they think about us or say. We must serve humanity. It is time for us to pick up the gauntlet and do what we said we desire, and that is bring humanity to a place of unicity. The voice of hate must be silenced. The fear of death must be overcome. The uncertainty of what's going to be will remain uncertain until we make a declaration that nothing is going to be except righteousness, because we are here. Yes, we have to encourage each other. Yes, we continue to delve into an understanding of what all of this is about. The idea, the Kemetic idea of Messiah is one who seeks to show others the divinity in themselves. The Kemetic understanding of what they call Satan is Seten, S-E-T-E-N, is the attitude that seeks to stop us from being able to do that. And the power to do that comes to us through Ptah. The energy, Ptah is not a person, it's not an entity, it's the energy that keeps our ancestors alive so they can guide us along this pathway of warfare that's different than any warfare that this earth has ever experienced. They called us witch doctors because we could do things with our minds. They called us worshipers of Satan because we could meditate and speak to our ancestors and change the course of a river. And we bought into all of that. How in the world can our God create an earth with flowing rivers and an adversary to our God can change the course of that river? You are the creator of the river. You set the course for that river. And that is the reason that Menes was able to change the course of the Hapi River, the Nile. Now it's time for us to change the course of humanity. It's up to us. Thank you.
Questions, comments, y'all? It's a good place to ponder. Good place to ponder. Okay. We'll stop right here then. And a lot was said, especially the last 20, 30 minutes. So I hope you wrote it down or go back and listen again. I would do that myself, go back and listen again. A lot of stuff said. But I hope you have a great week and look forward to seeing you Saturday. Thank you, everyone.
See ya.
Thank you.
Everyone, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.